Yes, I am alive. It's been, what, 6 months since I've been gone? It's been a while. College is hectic, is all I can say. But hey, I'm on semester break and I am back, so that's all that matters. And this, today, what I'm working on is a very, very old piece. Honestly, everything up until now to maybe 5 to 6 videos is going to be very old art pieces because I just have so much footage lying around on my desktop and I really have to get rid of them. So, today we have another character from a D&D game called Toron Ashwing. And instead of just sitting around and probably butchering the character by trying to introduce him myself, I have the actual owner of the character himself right here, so we can kind of talk about what he's about. So, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Card. Nice to meet ya. And I am, as our lovely hostess here said, the player for Toron Ashwing. Well, former player considering the fact that that campaign has unfortunately ended. Due to it being terminated early due to life things happening. And I'm hoping to play him again later or some other game.
So, first and foremost, who is Toron Ashwing?
Toron Ashwing, as we can all clearly see here, is a Kenku, and he is a gunslinger as a profession. He adventured around with an older group in his younger years before all of them either disbanded or unfortunately passed away due to some, well, I mean, it's an adventuring group, we all know what happens there. Before
adventures happen.
Gelatinous cubes, how we love and or loathe you.
Oh, do we even need to talk about the foot shooter thing? Because look at that stubby little toe. And let me just say, I had to put so much effort into these toes. I was looking at so many chicken feet to get these toes right.
Oh, don't even remind me of the cursed thing you did with the chicken's foot.
Hey, that was all for art, alright? It turned out great, that's all you need to know.
That is a story for another time, along with the foot shooter story. Maybe later, if I ever am invited to do a follow-up story on Toron. But
which you might, seeing that this video has another part. So, right.
We'll save that for later. Anyway, back to Toron here. As I said, old Kenku, gunslinger, usual character. He, however, spent much of his middle years and a bit into his older age inside of a pocket dimension that was housed within a sentient mimic named Trunks. And as he was inside of this pocket dimension, he kinda went nuts.
That's granola.
If you add raisins to it, it'd be pretty accurate.
Raisins.
The raisin pouch. No one ever found the bottom of it. Anyway, he would have stayed there for probably the rest of his life if another younger group of adventurers didn't find said mimic and decide to make it their home base before breaking into his home that he had been sleeping in for quite some time and waking him up while he was in the middle of an afternoon nap, before then attempting to steal from him and debating if they should just kill the bird.
Adventurers. Love it. We all love it.
Indie parties these days. Anywho, after that, and no one ending up dead, but there were a few holes in walls, Toron decides, you know what, it might be time to actually head outside of this mimic and see what the world's like again. So he follows them out of the mimic and finds that everything's different. He's been in there for a long time, and due to the effects of time dilation from said mimic's pocket dimension, he spent about 20 to 15 years in the mimic. Outside, hundreds had passed. Almost all of his friends and family were gone, leaving him with pretty much no one left to talk to. The only ones that were still around were the immortal ones that had other things to do, So, yeah. all that was left was for him to follow around a group of youngsters and try and piece together some kind of life.
One thing I do have to say, you had to pick scale mail, didn't you?
Hey,
You
it
had
was either
to.
that or leather, and honestly, I needed the AC.
I mean, not your fault completely. I did decide to do every single scale by hand, and then decide to put in the pattern corresponding to the scales. So that's kind of on me too. But hey, you can't tell me that doesn't look good.
Oh, it looks amazing, but I did mention that you didn't have to go through that much effort.
You bought me Minecraft in exchange for this. I did have to go through all that. Alright?
And I insisted that you didn't, but here we are.
Here we are.
Anywho, as
Shading this was actually really fun though, because I knew for a fact I could not pull this off with like my usual 2D shading, like my usual cell shading that I used to do.
Mhm.
It was actually pretty fun, like doing all of this with trying to stick to a more natural yet also somehow my own style, you know? Because even though it looks like a deviation, it still looks like something I would do, which I think is rather nice.
honestly, I am very impressed with how this came out and how much detail you put into this bird. Especially considering, like, the plumage looks soft. And I have no
Hey,
idea how
old
you
words
do it.
are very soft.
I have no idea how you did it, but you did it.
Witchcraft.
But as you can all see there, Toron does have a small little fuzzy friend on his shoulder. That is Inky, a kitten displacer beast. He is absolutely adorable, and was found by Toron in a back alley where he was abandoned to starve to death in the capital of Pearlguard.
Pearlguard being the name of the city that our campaign is based on.
Also, the name of the campaign. The DM wasn't very original.
Well, talk to me about the gun.
That is something that I came up with and had to coach Mia over here through the majority of the design. It is one of my more favorite thoughts. It is a break action 50 caliber rifle. Oh, this thing. It is large.
It's a beast.
It is heavy, and it was a bit of a nightmare for our lovely artist over here.
It was. I couldn't just like slap in anything and everything that I wanted. I had to make sure that it looked functional because you are very much a gun nut, and I couldn't just throw everything together and be like, "Hey, yeah, he's gonna be fine." Nuh-uh.
To be fair, I could have went with a bolt action, it would have been worse. Break actions are quite simple.
Yeah, true.
Well, at least in the mechanical specs and using it.
To you, maybe, yeah.
If we get to the actual design of it, it gets a bit more complicated. But either way, it has a hexagonal barrel, as we can see here. And also, what were they called again? Elkhorn sights?
I think so.
Longhorn sights?
Oh, probably, yeah.
It was one of the two. I can't remember at this moment because, well, this character was years ago.
Well, talk to me about how you relate to Ashwing. What about him do you see in yourself? And, how is this character closest to you?
Ashwing was a character I loved playing because for the most of the time, whenever I played a D&D character, I didn't really play them as well as I did Ashwing. For him, I really got into the character himself, and he was a lot of fun to play. It was fun to play as something I'd never done before, which is an old man who has early stages of dementia, who's slightly forgetful, a bit crazy, and, well, he's an old man with a bloody gun. What do you expect? He was a lot of fun to play, and definitely very dear to my heart.
Well, thankfully I am bringing him back. Hopefully. We'll see how this goes.
Not the way I would have wanted it seen done.
Hey, you can't always get what you want.
Unfortunately. Well, looks like we might be running out of time here on the speed paint.
Almost. And we still have a long way to go. So we will end our session here, but I will see you all very soon in the very next one. Peace.